Let's move on. I'll take another encounter without checking ignoble. Now, people will probably be screaming at me saying, no, don't do that. Check your ignobles. The Emperor is going to tell me, until the deck reshuffles, ignore kings and treat them as 10s. Not a bad roll. Now, why? What is the encounter there? I'll add some narratives to that in play after the fact. But for now, these are just mechanical situations. Also, talk to your players, and your players sometimes come up with really good ideas on how to handle this stuff.
The heralds proclaimed the Bear Paw Rebellion as ended. In the aftermath, those in power downplayed the events. Belgorod was a large city-state that denied having farms pillaged, yet all the locals there seemed ill at ease. We docked, seeking moneylenders, not to borrow, but to buy the debt of those who would fill out our rowers. None would deal with us upon seeing the paw flag unfurled on our center mast. The dockmaster gingerly asked us to go.
And here comes my next card flip. A knight. Am I ignoring knights? I'm not. It's a knight, and it's a Bane knight. I go into my encounters here. It's a Knight Bane. Naming and arming the knight. These represent agents of more important men of the campaign. These cards are similar to King, but with two important differences. They often join the quest after the players successfully solicit their support with flattery, money, or veiled threats. And they might also represent extra reinforcements to servitors, not the NPC. Now, I flipped Knight of Rods. Rods are a local agent, and it's inverted. The agent is employed locally and trying to prevent an intrigue. He wishes to stop some baneful act of his master. Flip a clarifying card for his role. Second card for the person he suspects of betrayal. If the players agree to help, the action will take place in the city or manor and present a minor mini climax. Sure, and I'll do that minor mini climax where I'm going to be pulled in with my character to try to resolve a situation.
We were taking water from a town well when the sheriff approached. He was dressed for the outdoors, muddy boots, someone serious who looked like he made an effort to keep his lord's lands free of poachers and fell ones. Varangians from the ship, he asked, as if that wasn't obvious. He introduced himself as Sheriff Chester, his tone serious. There's magic here, but I'd like your opinion. Uller seemed uneasy. She would tamp at the ground where magic was cast. I did not think the Fae lived here, not with an active human sheriff. Still, I asked Chester if we were near a fairy glade. Not for several hundred years. He seemed annoyed, but not by my question. Chester let us know that a cult of magicians has been causing a stir. They employ a gang to steal while using illusions to convince the farmers the act was those bear paw folks. He further explained his frustration. That rebellion concentrated in the south. Our astrologer sensed black arts used locally. He was investigating before he died, walked right off a curtain wall as if he thought he had turned left along the upper rampart, often strolled there to clear his thoughts. This mystery sounded fun. I accepted Sheriff Chester's invitation to dine inside, guests of Baron Ishmael. Our men could transport the water collected back to our ship. My first Optio, Heerth and I would follow, perhaps in the morning. Heerth agreed to stay to sample the village trollops.
Now, I'm going to add an extra tab here, and hopefully this will show up. SpaceGamer.com. And I'm going to go down to these random castles here, and I'm going to go ahead and just generate one. Ooh, look at that. Now, this also gives me some intrigue here that says the prime skullduggery is the captain of the watch. Now, the captain of the watch, Clay, he's a potential usurper to this lord's estate, fiefdom of Baron Philip. So Baron Philip has this, and I can further decide that, well, blockhouses have a certain type of encounter, or this main keep has a certain type of encounter. I can add my character to the sheet as well. At the same time, if I go back to a Space Gamer site, just again demonstrating some of the potential. If you're playing freestyle, you can use this. If you're not playing freestyle, you could probably still use it as well. I can also generate a fantasy temple here with various political intrigue going in, and I've also written some basic mechanics inside of both the baronial fantasy supplement and the temples and apostate supplement, both available on DriveThru, to describe these different things besides the entrances, what these vaults and everything would look like. But let me go back to my castle. I probably don't have a copy of it, so we are now at Baron Ishmael.
I had not heard of our host, Lord Ishmael, a bachelor, recently titled landlord, probably one of many imperial sycophants that acquire short-term authority along the edges of the frontier. I expected someone robust. Ishmael was not. He seemed incapable of leading soldiers. Ishmael sat at the end of our table, quite removed, on his own and not socializing. He was dressed in a loose-fitting robe. Stains on the sleeves suggested his attendants were negligent. Chester explained that his master did not sleep. The food was good, yet everyone ate little except for one fat and toothless celebrant named Lewis. He was the Baron's confessor and seemed at ease with all the manor's secrets. Ishmael panicked and lurched, putting his dogs in the hall on edge. Lewis chortled in farce. Maybe our lord would lead us in a quadrille. The confessor was accustomed to saying whatever he liked. Despite his apparent infirmities, Lewis seemed far stronger than Ishmael. More deception. Interesting. My voice agreed. Not so pristine priest. Crafty carnage and acts. Mongrel lapping at morsels.
Baron Ishmael, and the intrigue is the Confessor. Now, the Confessor was not a loyalist. He's a master of illusion. I have to fight this master of illusion in order to win. Now, I'm going to first roll because I want, well, this would be magic, which is an ignoble I need. I'm going to have a battle where I'm going to fight magic, and I'm going to use only rods. So if I go into my magical battle here, combat, magical rods. I will either have magical rods or magical bane rods, and I will try to defeat this illusionist in order to put this Space Gamer Online Baron's fiefdom of Ishmael into better working order by eliminating this confessor as a threat.
Heerth was ready to leave. After satisfying himself, his desire was to avoid any husband. I told him to sit and eat. I softly discussed the machinations with Sheriff Chester. Confessor Lewis had claimed grander chambers. He often studied the castle archives of dark arts. I found my name scratched on a copper plate. Of course, no one claimed responsibility. Confessor Lewis cleared his throat for all to hear. He then asked my first Optio if he has trouble passing the spoons he swallows. Heerth did eat rather voraciously, yet why would he insult an armed warrior? Heerth looked over at me, asking permission to kill the Blackheart. I shrugged. Be a hard fight to escape, but who am I to deny justice? The act might even solve Chester's problem. Heerth stood and shoved the priest off his chair. The man fell lithely, not with a sodden plop. He was masking who and what he was. Lewis waved his hand and sent the chamber into darkness. All the light was sent away. Nice trick. I started to draw Ófóti, but my blade advised otherwise.
Ignore the ruse.
Lewis hoped to provoke a reaction. I almost obliged. The priest slipped away, leaving anyone involved to grapple blind. No doubt he hoped Heerth and I would kill some of Baron Ishmael's other retainers. When the light returned, Heerth and I stood safely, backs against a wall, swords sheathed. The Baron's guards had armed themselves, but no one had found us nor connected a blow. Heerth's Jinn sword alerted him as well to evade. Sheriff Chester ordered the hall vacated. Move the Baron to his chamber. He believed Confessor Lewis was his county thief, but all the plunder was hidden. Illusions would make that easier. The Ponce tried to grab my ring, Heerth offered, the one the Jenolan gave me. It has magic, just not sure what. I cringed as Heerth all but admitted our collusion with the Bearpaw. I told my first Optio to leave now, go see to the ship. The sheriff was tired of chasing imaginary fae. He explained that other magical artifacts had gone missing from the trophies of this hall. Kleptomania is a byproduct of unchecked magic use. Even our vizier has been changing slowly over the decade I've known him. The confessor arrived only recently. About the time of Ishmael's dreams and the village thefts, I would wager. I can't hang a man for coincidence. I told him I had all the proof I needed. No Rus insults a Varangian with impunity.
Probably has been using his illusions to make it seem like attacks are coming on the castle and causing alarm to cover his thievery. And I'm going to expose that now. Rods. So every card I flip is going to be a rod. This is major. It's not a 4 cups, it's a 4 of rods. And that 4 of rods is straight up, and And I'm going to go into my fundamentals here, and I'm going to go magical rods, 4. Employ hideous extra-dimensional shapes and colors. The damage may be all mental, but the result is still utter expiry. Success and dispatch one opponent. I'm going to use illusions on the illusionist. Boy, that is bold. A 13. Do I still have that negative quest pip? It's a 14. Am I going to roll 2 dice for a 14? I would say probably not, but let's not get our hopes dashed yet. 2 dice, looking for a 14. It's a 13, but I would pick up magical illusions. If I had a make roll here, it'd be a good time to use it. But illusions on illusionist, this probably was a bad thing that he turned back against me. 6, I didn't make the roll.
The room seemed bathed in flames. I reacted by waving my cape, hunting for an exit. Ófóti told me this was not Ifriti.
More illusions.
I tried to focus, dispel the images, or even control them to my own aims. That was futile.
Still in encounters, that action did not result in any bad thing because it's not a Bane. Still looking at rods only. Magical encounter, I'm fighting the illusionist. An ace, but it's a Bane ace. Alright, Bane, rod. Ace, take a respite from abracadabra and put the knife in the budge. That's right. Success and dispatch a half D8 opponents or one large adversary, but fail and knocked unconscious. If the action takes place in the water, it does not. So, blade biting on a 10. It's an 11, or I'm going to be knocked unconscious by the illusionist and taken prisoner. Let's take a look. Did I make my 10 on 2 dice? I'm closing my eyes. It's a 10, right? Double checking. A 10 becomes an 11. 11 on 2 dice. The odds are ever in my favor. No, they're not. But look at that. Sometimes I can make a roll.
The edge of Ófóti changed, transforming into a serrated row of teeth. Seemed a bit overkill, but did allow me to remove Lewis's arm at the shoulder.
Got him. Finish him.
More biting commentary from my aggressive blade.
I made that roll of 11. I picked up blade biting. My hellish blade is becoming even more empowered by this action, and it's now biting. And some people ask me, well, what's a blade scintillating? What's a blade biting? Well, it's, there are different aspects here. And a genius blade would be a clever one that could advise you. A mucilage would be one that could excrete oils or even good beer. Bounding means you could probably toss it in the air and fight its own. Fantastic would just be the word fantastic. It has some magical properties. Eminent and defender and lithe. Lithe would probably be able to use the blade at different angles. And hellish, of course, that's a blade that was made in hell. It's a demon killer. Amalgam of different precious metals and golden and etc. down the line. Same with your mount. Your mount can be pure and vibrant and sturdy and beautiful, and all these correspond again to other swagger in the game. Why do I need to sales pitch at any moment?
After the death of Lewis, the Baron's nightmares abated. He was able to clean his cloak and stand in his hall to hear petitioners. I kept my distance. How else did you expect this to end? With pleasant smiles and merry well-wishes? A prolonged scene of thanks and gratitude? Don't mark yourself a fool. None of the landed nobility ever has gratitude. Another courtier was dead. Sheriff Chester would investigate the foul magic, probably the Fae.
I picked up blade biting and also defeated that illusionist. I'm going to check magic for that. That's magic ignoble from that one little action. It's nice occasionally to make a good roll when you need it, and I have solved the problems with Baron Ishmael. I could possibly pick him up as a friend. Let me make a roll there in the aftermath. Now, when I make a roll in the aftermath, on a difficult roll of a 12, he recognizes me. Let me look at the other people. So I was probably hired by the Sheriff Chester. On a roll of a 7, I can pick up a friend from Sheriff Chester. On a roll of 12, I can make Baron Ishmael my friend. 7 is an easier roll, so let's see if I can pick up Sheriff Chester of the fiefdom of Baron Ishmael outside of the town of Belgorod as a friend. 2 dice, looking for a 7. Negative quest pip? Afraid so. 13, I am successful. Ooh, hoo, hoo. I will do a little dance. Make a little love. Get down tonight. Making a roll gives me crafty deeds. I went to level 1. We love that. Now we zero all these out. And I should write down that I have a friend that will come into play. I edit this and go down to here. I also have now a friend, Sheriff Chester of Baron Ishmael of Belgorod.
At the coast, I met Sheriff Chester. We embraced as compatriots and wished each other a long life. I confided in him my quest to find the Windcaller of Cherson, to kill that spellcaster. Chester agreed with the necessity of my mission. The world needs to lose all of these serpent-minded wizards. A plague. I accepted from him a wagon load of war supplies, among them several crossbows, items found conspicuously in a barn once all illusion ended.
If I ever get into trouble around this area, I can maybe call my friend to help me, and these become more important with the campaign aspects that you're developing slowly. Save those changes. More later.